Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the case of Mickey Stines and Kevin Mullins? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I will put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. First, I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the crime, then offer my analysis. Sean Stines was born in November 1980 and lived in the state of Kentucky. He went by the name Mickey. In 2018, he was elected sheriff of Letcher County and re-elected in 2022. Mickey had a teenage daughter. For some reason, they recorded a video together in what appears to be a police vehicle. Mickey was sitting in the driver's seat wearing his uniform. His daughter was in the rear seat dressed in orange, like she was a prisoner. The pair was singing the song, "I Shot the Sheriff." This song did not precisely predict the future, but it was close. Kevin Mullins was born in June 1970 and lived in Kentucky. He earned a bachelor's degree and a law degree. In 1995, he was admitted to the Kentucky Bar Association. In 2001, Kevin started serving as an assistant Commonwealth's attorney in Letcher County, working out of the county courthouse in Whitesburg. In 2009, to fill a vacancy, Kevin was appointed a 47th District Court judge by the governor. He was elected to that position in 2010 and then re-elected a few times. Mickey Stines and Kevin Mullins were friends for many years. At one point, Mickey worked as a bailiff in Kevin's courtroom. In January 2022, a woman named Sabrina Atkins filed a lawsuit against Mickey Stines. She had been in jail and was released on home incarceration. She had to wear a monitoring device on her ankle, which required a fee. Sabrina said that she did not have the money to pay the fee, but she also did not want to go back to jail. A deputy named Benjamin Charles Fields had sex with her in exchange for failing to enforce the fee. Benjamin was a security officer in the Letcher County Courthouse. The sex allegedly occurred in the chambers of Kevin Mullins, although Kevin was not named in the lawsuit. After this lawsuit was filed, another woman came forward and joined it. Her name was Jennifer Hill. Jennifer accused Benjamin of threatening to have her home incarceration revoked if she did not have sex with him. In January 2024, Benjamin Fields was convicted of offenses related to sex. Mickey fired Benjamin from the police force. Despite this, the lawsuit accused Mickey of deliberate indifference and failing to adequately train and supervise Benjamin. Mickey denied any wrongdoing. Now moving to the timeline of the crime. On September 19, 2024, Mickey Stines and Kevin Mullins had lunch together not far from the Letcher County Courthouse in Whitesburg. People who observed them did not see any obvious signs of tension or acrimony. Not long before 3 p.m., both men went back to the courthouse. Kevin said something to the effect of, "Do you need to meet privately in my chambers?" Mickey walked into the judge's chambers, and the door was closed. The two men were alone in the small room. A surveillance camera monitored the judge's chambers, but it only recorded video, no audio. Mickey used his cell phone to call his daughter. After this, he asked the judge for his cell phone, which Kevin gave to him. Mickey then tried to call his daughter using Kevin's cell phone. The phone number for Mickey's teenage daughter was in Kevin's phone. After looking at Kevin's phone briefly, Mickey produced a semi-automatic pistol and pointed it at the judge. Mickey was standing to the side of Kevin's desk in front of the door. Kevin raised his hand and turned away from Mickey. A witness outside the chambers heard a man's voice screaming, "Help! Help!" Mickey fired at Kevin. It looked like he fired 2 rounds. After being struck by gunfire, Kevin fell out of his chair onto the floor, but he was still alive. Mickey moved to the front of Kevin's desk, leaned over it, held the gun out in front of him toward the back side of the desk, and fired it down at Kevin 1 time. He did this as the judge was crouching behind the desk with one hand on the back of his head. Mickey made his way to the door, pulled it open slightly, before turning back toward Kevin, pointing his weapon at him, and firing what appeared to be 3 more times. Mickey then left the judge's chambers and surrendered to police officers outside. He told them, "Treat me fair." At another point, he said, "They're trying to kidnap my wife and kid." Mickey was charged with murder. He retired from his job as sheriff, quote, "to allow for a successor to continue to protect his beloved constituents while he addresses the legal process ahead of him," unquote. Whoever the next sheriff is doesn't have to worry about working too hard to impress people. By killing a judge, Mickey set the bar pretty low. In a preliminary hearing on October 1, 2024, Mickey's defense attorneys suggested that manslaughter would be a more appropriate charge because Mickey acted under extreme emotional disturbance. Now moving to my analysis. This case is shocking in many ways. It is extremely rare for a police officer to kill a judge. People with these jobs tend to view each other as being on the same team. Mickey's behavior doesn't appear to make any sense. What could have motivated him to carry out a homicide? The sheriff and the judge were friends, and they just had a cordial lunch. One obvious theory in this case is that Mickey was motivated by something that he saw on Kevin's cell phone, like the phone number of Mickey's teenage daughter. Maybe this sent Mickey into an uncontrollable homicidal rage. It's possible that Mickey suspected the judge was acting inappropriately, and that's why he asked for the phone in the first place. This was really about confirming his suspicions rather than some type of chance discovery. There are several unknown factors in this case. What exactly was on the phone? Was there something more than just the phone number, like a history of calls? During these phone calls that he made, did Mickey connect with his daughter? Did she tell him anything? Were there any accusations made prior to this? Did the judge react to what Mickey was seeing on the phone? Was Kevin actually trying to hide anything? Maybe there was an explanation for the phone number being in there. Why did Mickey mention to the police that people were trying to kidnap his wife and kid? What did his wife have to do with this? Was the lawsuit filed against Mickey related to the homicide? It seems clear that Mickey's defense will be based on mental health factors. One of his defense attorneys said, quote, "We feel like today that there was no evidence that would lead me to believe that this is murder. It feels more like an extreme emotional disturbance," unquote. In Kentucky, extreme emotional disturbance is a reaction to overwhelming stress that temporarily inhibits a person's ability to control their actions. It is easy to understand why the state would disagree with the idea that Mickey only committed manslaughter and not murder. They may argue that there was evidence of a murder. For instance, the shooting the judge to death part. The state of Kentucky does not have degrees of murder, like first or second, but they do have manslaughter in the first degree and in the second degree. The only two charges that are relevant in this case would be murder or manslaughter in the first degree. First, let's take a look at the definition of murder. In Kentucky, a person is guilty of murder when, with intent to cause the death of another person, he causes the death of such person or of a third person, except that in any prosecution a person shall not be guilty under this subsection if he acted under the influence of extreme emotional disturbance for which there was a reasonable explanation or excuse. It's important to note here that premeditation is not a factor. The only thing that matters is intent. Murder carries a penalty of 20 to 50 years in prison. In certain cases, the death penalty may be considered. For example, if a person murders a judge. Now moving to manslaughter. A person is guilty of manslaughter in the first degree when, with intent to cause serious physical injury to another person, he causes the death of such person or of a third person, or with intent to cause the death of another person, he causes the death of such person or of a third person under circumstances which do not constitute murder, because he acts under the influence of extreme emotional disturbance. Manslaughter in the first degree carries a penalty of 10 to 20 years in prison. Based on the way the law is written in Kentucky, it seems clear that Mickey will be convicted of either murder or manslaughter if this case goes to trial. This brings me to the question, based on the evidence available right now, is Mickey guilty of murder? Let's take a look at the evidence both for and against the idea that he is guilty, starting with the inculpatory factors. Mickey produced a pistol and shot Kevin. He maneuvered into a better firing position and shot him again. Before leaving the office, Mickey deployed lethal force against Kevin for a third time. It's clear that Mickey wanted Kevin to be dead. Mickey surrendered to the police as if he knew his actions warranted such behavior. There is no evidence that Mickey was in danger from Kevin. Even if Mickey believed Kevin represented a threat to his daughter, there was certainly no immediate threat. Having the phone number of a female teenager in one's phone could lead to tough questions, but there may have been an innocent explanation. Even if Kevin had committed some type of horrible offense against Mickey's daughter, it's hard to believe Mickey could have uncovered the full extent of the offense that quickly. He didn't wait for any type of explanation or investigation. Moving to the exculpatory factors, Kevin's cell phone contained the number of Mickey's teenage daughter. Mickey mentioned some type of kidnap plot against his wife and daughter. This could point to a mental health problem. Maybe Mickey was delusional. That's pretty much it for exculpatory factors. When considering the available evidence in this case, do I think that Mickey Stines is guilty of murder? Yes, he is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Maybe new evidence will come out that will completely change everything, but right now, that is where I stand on the case. What do I think happened in this case? This is just a theory, my opinion. Mickey was immature, impulsive, irresponsible, falsely believed he was special, may have had some degree of paranoia, and had a sense of entitlement. When these factors combined with other stressors, it created a situation where Mickey had a hair trigger. Anything could have set him off and transformed him into a killer. He was like a time bomb. Mickey asked to see Kevin's phone because he was looking for his daughter's number. He suspected that something was going on. Mickey intended to kill Kevin if he found the number, and that is exactly what happened. Mickey had control over his actions, but he did not care about the consequences of his behavior. He wanted to get his way. In all likelihood, there was an innocent explanation for the phone number being in Kevin's phone, but Kevin was never given a chance to provide that explanation. Now moving to my final thoughts. One of the most stubborn and significant problems for criminal offenders is impulsivity. Police officers are supposed to set a good example by demonstrating high levels of self-control and using the law to settle their differences with others. Mickey was a failure in every regard. He believed himself to be above the law. Not only did he commit murder, he killed a judge, a symbol of law and order. Mickey created fear in the halls of justice. Since he was fine with dishonoring a courthouse, he should spend the rest of his life enjoying a prison. There's an old phrase about being the judge, the jury, and the executioner. Mickey was the executioner, killed the judge, and now must face the jury. Those are my thoughts on the case of Mickey Stines and Kevin Mullins. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comments section. They consistently generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be informative. Thanks for watching.